Labor Secretary Sylvester Bello has vowed to end the practice of labor-only contracting, or ENDO, that is, end of contract in the Philippines by next year. This move aligns with President Rodrigo Duterte's push to better protect and uphold the rights of Filipino workers. While the move was supported by the Employers' Confed of the Philippines, some members warn doing away with ENDO too quickly might cripple the country's labor force and give rise to unemployment. Well, with us now for more from our Rockwall studio in Makati are Butch Guerrero, Membership Committee for ECOP, and Roda Kaliwara, National President for the Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, or Palscon. Good to have you both with us, Roda and Butch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Cathy.
Good morning, Cathy.
So first up, we have to make a differentiation in what legitimate service contractors mean, as you both represent Palscon, as the issue on hand here with the Duterte administration is getting rid of the labor-only contracting, or ENDO. Butch?
Okay. Well, let's define what contractualization is. Contractualization was coined by the late Crispin Beltran, that it's the 555 system, that for every 5 months you issue a new contract to the worker, and then every 5 months you issue a new one. That's the 5-5 name. However, this is an abuse on the workers' plight for work. So we are against that, and we support President Duterte's move to eradicate the 555 system.
And Roda, how are you doing that at Palscon, being the national president?
Well, actually, Palscon has been created to work with the government, specifically with the Department of Labor and Employment, to provide decent and quality jobs to the Filipino people. And we've been working with them, and what we do is to comply with the set of regulations, and campaigning as well for the abolition of 555.
And this brings us to costs, really. I mean, it costs not only to the companies but the economy if the government doesn't make a differentiation and bans contractualization as well as outsourcing along with ENDO. So how can we quantify those costs?
Okay. Companies go into contractualization. Let's use the word outsourcing, because contractualization is a negative effect which is related to the 555 for the purpose of this discussion, but we focus on outsourcing.
And it's also one and the same. It's more of like a more generic term, is it? Outsourcing, yes, the sort of umbrella term.
Yes, it is, Cathy. So outsourcing is a way of companies to be flexible to the workforce and to the tune of the market. So not only cost, but flexibility and adaptability of companies. That's one of the reasons, and one of the major reasons, that they go into outsourcing.
And Rhoda, what do you make of the Secretary's plan to get rid of ENDO by next year then? I mean, if we were to make this differentiation, then Palscon, being the legitimate contractor, shouldn't be afraid.
Well, this has been a problem for how many years now? The proliferation of the illegitimate contractors or service contracting, and we've been working, actually, as I mentioned a while ago, we've been working with the Department of Labor and Employment and trying to campaign, and we comply with all the labor standards of the government.
Well, what are the standards, Rhoda? Maybe you can differentiate for us. What are the standards of what makes contractualization legitimate?
Well, one of which is to give all what is due to the people, giving them the mandated benefits, government mandated benefits like SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, giving them or providing them safe environment, and complying with the DO 18-A, a set of regulations provided by the Department of Labor and Employment.
So Butch, do you think it can be done, getting rid of illegal contractualization by next year, by even half, by cutting it by half even, as Sylvester Bello had said last week?
Well, Secretary Bello said that 50% would be out by end of this year, and then another 50% would be out by next year. he's referring to the 555 system. And we welcome that because Palscon complies to the International Labor Organization of providing decent work to our workforce. And any abuses in the workforce falls back to our agency, which provides the decent work agenda. And if I may take a note, there are more fly-by-night companies in our industry than legitimate ones. That's one of the reasons we welcome President Duterte's call to end 555 and the Secretary's Bello as well to end the abuses by the 555 system.
But isn't that exactly the worry? There's so many more fly-by-nights there that we can't account for, that when they're all taken out of the system, it could just cripple the whole labor system. What do you think, Butch?
I don't think it would cripple the system. It would improve the system. It's like fixing the tweaks in the system. And if we fix these tweaks in the system, then we cut down the abuses, then we come out with social justice, and then better work, more productive workers, and that will be good for the entire country.
Even the timeline, I mean, you don't have any questions as to how this can be achieved in the short span of notice, 50% this year and the other half for next?
Well, it's a tall order, but I think the private sector and the government, together with the workers, has to work hand in hand to eradicate the system.
How so, Rhoda? I mean, if the private sector were to cooperate with the government in this tall order of an act of trying to get rid of 555, how would Palscon help?
Well, actually, Cathy, with the implementation of DO 18-A, the number of service contractings has been radically reduced to like almost 70% already. And Palscon as an organization has been, as I've said, has been helping the government to campaign for the abolition of 555. So what we do now is to comply with the set of regulations set by DOLE.
Okay, well, it's good to have you both with us. Thank you so much for illuminating us on the differentiations on the 555's outsourcing and contractualization. Butch Guerrero on Rhoda Kaliwara of Palscon joining us from the Rockwell studio in Makati. Coming right up, cement firm Cemex making its debut as trading begins at the Philippine Stock Exchange in just about 2 minutes. More when Market Edge returns.